Kia ora and welcome to Beer Club. I'm Luke. This week we are drinking Billycan, a milk stout from McLeod's. So you may know a little bit about McLeod's. You may have watched one of our previous drink-along videos. It's a brewery in beautiful Waipu in Northland that was started by a couple of brothers who took over the pizza barn in Waipu, and it was a raging success, and they loved beer as well. What goes better with pizza than a good beer? And after a few years of that, they decided to open up a brewery. So it's Jeff and Clayton. They started with quite a small brewery, and things grew pretty quickly, and they quite quickly got a fantastic reputation for doing really, really excellent beers. So the pizza barn is still absolutely there. And it's a very busy spot, especially in summertime. But you can also find a lot of the beers all over the place now. A very renowned, highly regarded brewery. Definitely one of the breweries which is a real favourite amongst other brewers, so very, very highly respected, win loads of awards, and they've recently had a new head brewer take over. So I haven't met him yet, but I've been really enjoying some of his beers. At the tap room, we've just tapped the sparkling IPA, which is fantastic, brand new recipe. So the torch has been passed on to it's not just one person that is a brewery; it's a whole brew team. Led by the head brewer. So if you've been following the progress, and Jason Bathgate was the former superstar brewer that started a great brewery, Element in the South Island. We also have some of his kegs pouring at Small Guys Tap Room right now. You'll know that McLeod's are very much in safe hands with their new brew team. And this is a recipe they've been doing for a while now. It's one of their small batch seasonals that comes out every year. It is their Billycan milk stout, which is it's not especially historic in the scale of time and all history and all beers. So milk stouts go back 100 or so years. So the first milk stout that came out was Mackeson's milk stout that came out commercially in 1910. And Mackeson's was in these little bottles, and it had a picture of a milk urn on the bottles. And it was promoted as being a nourishing stout and a health-giving stout. And that is what milk stouts were. That was the reason behind them, really. The gimmick and the idea was that they contain the nourishment of milk in every bottle. And it wasn't until I think the 40s or 50s that the UK government said, "Oh, actually, it's not true, is it? It's not a really healthy drink, so shut up." So they no longer talk about it being nourishing, and also there was a beer style around that time, sort of between the wars, that was the invalid stout, which was for sort of the same reasons. It was a beer style that was promoted to give to invalids or injured people or disabled people or people that are recovering. It was a beer style that was recommended famously to nursing mothers. But this beer style has no health benefits to any of those people. So if you're a doctor, do not start prescribing milk stout for people. It has booze in it, which can definitely be good for the soul and happiness in moderation. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. The historic milk stouts were low ABV, so the Mackeson's, I think it probably still is 2.8%. And also the reason, as you probably know, that brewers these days use milk or lactose. So that's the milk sugar. It's a byproduct from making cheese. It's the sugar that makes milk sweet. Is not edible by yeast. So the wonderful fungus that converts the sugars into alcohol in all of our alcoholic beverages can't eat lactose, so the sweetness remains, which is delightful, and it's especially delightful in lower ABV beers. So in Britain, especially in that time in between the wars, just people didn't have much money. and they still wanted to go out to the pub, drink and socialise in the whole public house and the lounge type thing. But brewers had to keep the price of the booze down and also enable people to go out and have 10 pints and not be completely paralytic. So there was a real rapid decline in the alcohol levels in popular beer styles in Britain, which is to an extent something we're seeing a little bit these days, and here in New Zealand with our high taxes on alcohol. So that is why you are seeing IPAs at 4.5%, for example. Partly people enjoy drinking lower ABVs, but also tax is such a huge part of the price of a glass of beer. But a fantastic trick for any of you homebrewers, if you are making a dark beer and you want to have a really tasty lower alcohol beer, chuck some lactose in and it gives it body, because nobody likes a watery low alcohol beer. It's bloody awful, and especially a dark beer that tastes watery, it just ends up tasting like ashtray water. Awful. So chuck some lactose in, really great trick to get some body, some roundness, some good mouthfeel to it, to have a really good sessionable beer that isn't lacking in body. So for any Coronation Street fans, you can't really talk about milk stout without talking about Ina Sharples, who for decades famously would sit in the Rover's Return, I want to say, with her old crony mates, drinking milk stout after milk stout. And it's a beer style that could not be less fashionable. Just even until, I don't know, like 5-6 years ago, it was such an uncool beer style, just so naff, old lady beer style. But as with all things, they're cyclic, things come around, people are into crocheting and knitting and old lady beers. It turns out Ina Sharples was right. A lot of stuff that old ladies are into is really cool, actually. So milk stouts are popular, rediscovered by modern drinkers, thanks to modern brewers. And of course, lactose milk sugar is used in a bunch of different beer styles, occasionally in New England IPAs, hazy IPAs, but more commonly in all of these fruity sours, these big-bodied dessert sours, like the milkshake and ice cream sours. So brewers like Duncan's and like Three Sisters put a lot of lactose in their various different beers. So yeah, cool beer style, good story and history to it, and I'm happy that people are brewing it and it has become a regular thing. It is almost as though people have forgotten that milk stout has kind of always been there in British culture, and sort of by virtue of that, New Zealand culture, because New Zealand is so full of British immigrants. And it is only very recently that it's somehow thrown off its reputation of being a naff beer style for old ladies. And this one is especially delicious. It really transcends and bridges that gap between a 100-year-old boring beer style. I don't think it's boring, Maxons, and what modern drinkers are into. So it's got various adjuncts as well as that milk stout that we kept talking about. So it contains Dutch cocoa, which really does come through. Not a huge amount, it's definitely not a chocolate stout, but it just really works nicely with all the speciality malt in there, the different kinds of roasted barley. You're not getting bitterness in here. I know a lot of people don't especially like dark beers because of that bitterness, that roastiness, the sort of espresso notes to it, and various dark beers have a lot of hops as well, which can make them bitter. But this one really leans into the sweet side of things, and the cocoa works really well. Some treacle, which, as I was saying about the sugar, so when you use treacle, or in fact any kind of sugars in a beer, whether you're using dates or palm sugar or any of these cool, interesting adjuncts, you use them for complexity, for layers. None of the sweetness actually ends up coming through, but it is a really fun trick. Well, it's not a trick. It's a fun ingredient to incorporate in your beer recipes when you are going for something unique, and just to get a certain, to get those layers of flavour. So using something like treacle is a great addition. And whole Tahitian vanilla beans. And vanilla is the best ingredient. It is glorious. I love brewing with vanilla. And especially when you are making beers that are on the sweeter side of things. So the vanilla really enhances the perception of sweetness in our taste buds. And it kind of elevates so many things. So yeah, and in those stout type of beers or different kinds of sour or fruity beers, if you are really trying to go for a whole bit of a dessert angle, a bit of a treat, then chucking vanilla in there is a great way to do it. Of course, vanilla is very, very expensive, but for you homebrewers out there, you're only making 20 litres, so chuck in 2 vanilla pods. They don't cost that much. Whereas when you're making 5 and 10,000 litre batches, you need a lot of vanilla pods, which does end up being pretty expensive. But that's the business we are in as brewers and drinkers. We're not doing this to cut corners and save money. Anyway, excellent beer. Billycans are there's like little camping like cooking stove, like cooking pots and things. And as I learnt from reading the label, apparently in New Zealand in the olden days, milk was delivered in little tin Billycans, which is interesting. So McLeod's we didn't mention. It's quite an international beer, I suppose. This one. So McLeod's is from Waipu in Northland, which is a town with very strong Scottish heritage, settled when the Europeans turned up. That is by Scottish settlers who founded the town. So hence all the tartan and the name McLeod's, which is not connected to any of the founders of the brewery. And of course, it's an English beer style, contains ingredients from Tahiti and Dutch-style cocoa. It is a very New Zealand beer, celebrating milk getting delivered in a little Billycan. And for some reason, it says Slantrawa at the bottom end, which is Irish. I don't know how else Ireland is connected to this beer, but it's a nice way to say cheers and embrace people from all over the world. Anyway, I'm getting pretty cold here in the chiller. It's pissing down outside, which is why I'm not outside today. And also, our bar's open. It's full of people that are getting ready for the pub quiz tonight. So I thought I'd hide out in here in the chiller to get a little bit of peace to make it a quiet video. Sláinte mhath. See you next time. Great work, McLeod's.